Here are 4 quick tips to write your book more efficiently. Let's go. The first hack is going to go against probably everything that you've ever heard as it relates to writing a book, and that is to write where you feel led. A lot of people believe that you should write your book from beginning to end, whereas for me, I feel like if you pick up and start writing where you feel led, you're going to gain the momentum that you need to actually see your writing through. So maybe you feel led to start, at the cliffhanger, or maybe you feel led to start at chapter 4, or maybe you feel led to start at the conclusion or the intro. It doesn't matter where you feel most led. Is if you begin there, you're going to notice that the writing begins to flow naturally. The second tip is to write from the heart. A lot of times people feel like you need to write very intellectually. And this was something I actually got in trouble for when writing my dissertation, because I wrote my dissertation very similar to how I wrote my book. That didn't go well. So I had a lot of tweaking and learning to do. But when I write books, I write as if I'm sitting across the table at Starbucks drinking coffee with a close friend. You want it to feel relatable. This was something that I've done for a while because, it allows my reading to flow naturally. But also, recently I learned that Ernest Hemingway, who is a very well-known novelist and journalist, actually says that if you write at a 3rd grade level, it makes your reading more digestible and relatable. So don't buy into the belief that it has to be super professional or super perfect or very upscale. Trust that it will all come together. The third tip that I have is to read over your writing. Now, one of the things that I like to do is I like to read per chapter. Like as I finish a chapter, I like to go back and look at that chapter and reread that. But then I also like to read it all together when it comes together. This is a great strategy because sometimes there will be gaps or even simple like words missing or things that are not there that you intended to be there. When you go back and read over it, you have the opportunity to say, okay, this is something that I'm missing, or this is something that I would rather like clarify or go more in depth with. This is also a great way to kind of tweak and edit it before you send it off to the editor. One of the things that I like to do as I go through the rereading process is I like to submit it to a tool like Grammarly or some certain like AI tools that allow me to get feedback on the writing. And then as I'm rereading it, I can really pull it together in a way that feels what I intended for it to feel for my reader. Finally, that brings me to my last step, and this is so important. I don't care what other steps you take in between this is probably the most important step, and that's to hire an editor to read it. Editors' entire jobs are to be able to read through the book and beyond just like grammar and punctuation editing, edit for flow and readability, which is called copy editing. And this is so important because when you send the book off to your reader, you really want to make sure that your intended message is what they digest and collect from reading the book, and hiring an editor helps to streamline that process. Also, getting feedback from editors can help you figure out maybe if there's a different way that you can clarify a certain part of the book that you wanted to clarify or go more in depth or whatever it may need. Editors really change it. When I send it off to my editor, a lot of times I'll get my book back and I'll be like, is that even the same book that I wrote? Just being able to get that feedback and them using their level of expertise to tweak, adjust and fix and change and alter it in a way that feels really good. It makes you feel confident when you go to promote and market this book so that you know that your readers are really getting exactly what it is that you desired for them to receive in purchasing and reading the book. So I invite you to give these different strategies a try. They are such big game changers. I think a lot of times we feel like we have to sit in one setting, we have to just write from beginning to end, and we have to tweak as we're going, and we get so stuck in our head trying to perfect the book. But as long as you look for perfect, you're never going to make the progress that you desire. So if you use these strategies, it'll help streamline and speed up your process to getting your book written. And before I go, I'd love to invite you to my Write Your Book in 30 Days training, where I actually walk you through some amazing tools, strategies, and supports that I have used to be able to write all of my books and to support my clients at doing the same. So if you are ready to get your book written now, I invite you to join us using the link below, and I cannot wait to see you there.